CGTN Radio. Hear the difference.
Tell the news. I'm Tian Yu. The Chinese foreign minister has called for building international consensus on promoting development and upholding all countries' legitimate rights for development. Wang Yi delivered China's address at the UN General Assembly in New York.
Development holds the key to difficult issues and delivering a happy life to our people. We should place development at the center of the international agenda and build international consensus on promoting development and upholding all countries' legitimate right to development.
Wang Yi also used the opportunity to stress that the issue of Taiwan has been settled by the international community for decades, adding that there is no room to challenge the One China principle.
Resolution 2758 resolved politically, legally, and procedurally the issue of representation of the whole of China, including Taiwan, in the UN and international institutions. It completely blocked any attempt by anyone or any country to create two Chinas or one China, one Taiwan. The One China principle has become a basic norm in international relations and a consensus of the international community when entering diplomatic relations with China. 181 countries all recognized and accepted that there is but one China in the world and Taiwan is part of China.
Wang Yi also called on the international community to uphold the multilateral system to tackle global crises, including climate change. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi says China will stand firmly with the UN and support the UN's central role in international affairs. Wang made the remarks while meeting with UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly, saying that Beijing believes that the UN could play a greater role in solving global problems. He added that China is willing to work closely with the UN to form greater consensus, gather more forces, and facilitate more actions. Guterres praised China's support for multilateralism and said the partnership with Beijing is an important pillar of the organization. Polling stations have opened in Italy as citizens decide who will lead the parliament for the next 5 years. Voters will receive two ballots, one for the lower chamber vote and the other for the Senate. Since the last election, reform aimed at streamlining parliament has passed through. The number of senators has dropped from 315 to 200, while the lower chamber of deputies will see 400 members instead of 630. There are 5 major candidates, including 3 former heads of government and 2 far-right leaders. Police say at least 5 people were injured following reported gunfire inside an amusement park southeast of Pittsburgh. The incident began at around 11 p.m. on Saturday, and the shooter's current status is not immediately clear. The attraction, which was kicking off a Halloween-themed festival, has been shut. South Korea's military says North Korea has fired a short-range ballistic missile into its eastern waters. The country's Joint Chiefs of Staff said it is strengthening surveillance following the launch. The North Korean missile launch came 2 days after a U.S. nuclear-powered aircraft carrier arrived in Busan for combined drills with the South Korean Navy scheduled to take place later this month. At least 94 people have died after a boat carrying migrants from Lebanon sank off Syria's coast. Rescuers recovered 17 bodies on Saturday as the search for those still missing continues. At least 14 survivors are recovering in hospitals in Syria. Syrian authorities began finding bodies off the coast of Tartus on Thursday afternoon. The Syrian Transport Ministry says the boat left Lebanon on Tuesday with between 120 and 150 people on board bound for Europe. NASA says it is scrapping Tuesday's plans to launch the Artemis 1 lunar mission due to concerns about a tropical storm headed to Florida. The U.S. National Hurricane Center says Tropical Storm Ian is expected to hit Florida next week, which is home to the Kennedy Space Center. NASA already called off a second launch attempt of its uncrewed test flight early this month due to a leak issue. Meantime, Cuba is also on alert as Tropical Storm Ian threatens to bring heavy rain and gusty winds to the western part of the country. In tennis action, Chinese teenager Zheng Qingwen missed the chance to win her first tour-level title at the Pan-Pacific Open in Tokyo. The 19-year-old suffered a straight-set loss to Lyudmila Samsonova 7-5, 7-5 in the final. Zheng has risen to 28th in the WTA World Rankings despite the defeat. And that's the news. I'm Tian Yu.